What's going on, everyone? Real Red Politics here, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Before I get into today's video, if you guys could leave a like, that would mean a lot, and if you could also consider subscribing if you are not yet subscribed, that would also mean a lot. I am trying to reach my goal of 300 subscribers by the end of February, and it would mean a lot if those of you aren't subscribed, if you do enjoy videos on my channel and more political content like this, if you guys could subscribe to the channel, that would mean a lot. So this is going to be the 5th video on the What Are My Thoughts series, and this is a series that I discuss political topics, and I go over, it's not always modern day political topics. I mean, if you guys haven't looked at the first 4 videos, I recommend you do, so you can kind of get an idea of how these, videos work. And so I've been researching each president of the United States in order. I started with George Washington, and now we're on the 5th president of the United States, James Monroe. And I'm more interested in what they did as during their time as president more than anything else. I take a look at their political beliefs and stuff as well, and then after I go over information about them, I kind of give my overall thoughts and opinions on them. Now, if you guys are curious of where I got and researched my information, all the links are in the description below. So if you want to research these presidents more, feel free to go ahead and take a look at those links. And if there's anything I didn't cover that you find interesting, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. So today's video, we're going to be discussing the 5th president of the United States, James Monroe. And I was researching for a little while, and I couldn't really find too much on him, to be honest. Everything I found was kind of before he became president, and kind of like his predecessor, he had a pretty lengthy resume, so to speak. I mean, he served 4 one-year terms as governor in the state of Virginia. He was Secretary of State, and I think he was George Washington's what's the word for it? Minister to France or something. It's something like that. So he has a pretty lengthy resume in terms of his career in politics. He also served in the Continental Army, kind of like George Washington. He served in what we know as the United States Army now. He served in what back then was known as the Continental Army, and he was part of what was known as the Anti-Federalist Party, I think is what it was called, but he was later then, or I guess he was considered Anti-Federalist. I don't know if that was a party, but he was the nominee for at the time what was known as the Democrat-Republican Party. And at this point in time, the Federalist Party was fading. They were kind of losing their steam. They were losing their grip, so to speak. And so the first time James Monroe ran, at this period in time when he served his first term, he had a little bit of opposition, but it wasn't, incredibly strong. And by the time he ran for a second term, he, as far as I'm aware, he won every single electoral vote except for one. I don't know where the one was, but that's because at the time the Federalist Party really didn't put anyone up against James Monroe. And unlike his predecessor, James Madison, he not only was he a big supporter, like James Madison, he was a big supporter of the Louisiana Purchase. He did aid Jefferson, and he strongly supported Jefferson when Jefferson was running for president. But unlike James Madison, he was against a strong central government. He was against big government. Even though James Madison didn't do anything to push towards a big government, the difference in what they believed politically is kind of the difference there. Now, of course, they both supported individual liberty. Now, at the time, James Monroe actually opposed the ratification of the new Constitution because I guess individual liberty wasn't like super strong yet, or there really wasn't much record of it in there. And so, but at that time, the new Constitution was ratified. I think that it might be a little iffy in terms of whether or not the Bill of Rights was there yet, but the point being was, originally he did oppose the new Constitution, but like I said, unlike James Madison, he did not support a strong central government. And like I said, James Madison didn't push for a strong central government. It's just what he believed politically, even though obviously it wasn't best for the country. And so he didn't push towards that. But like I said, the difference here is just their philosophical belief, or I guess their political belief, in terms of James Monroe didn't actually believe a strong central government was good. He was a nationalist. He supported. He put America first. From what I understand, when he came into office, he had a pretty strong economy under him. He did, unfortunately, in his kind of his last year as a president, I think we had that first economic depression that the United States would face in 1819. But he, like I said, not only did he help and kind of aid the Louisiana Purchase, which doubled the United States, but he also helped gain two new states into the Union. He acquired the state, well, actually, I think 3, actually, because he acquired Florida from Spain, but then during the Missouri Compromise, which he oversaw, he gained Maine, and he gained Maine and Missouri. And one, I don't remember which one, I think it was Missouri, was admitted into the Union as a slave state, and Maine was brought into the Union as a non-slave state, I think, if I remember correctly. And like many politicians of his time, he was also the last he was a founding father, and he was the last founding father to serve as president, as far as I'm aware. But like George Washington and everyone before him, he believed slavery was evil, but he didn't know how to remove it from the United States without causing problems, because everyone, they just, they had gone, back in, after the Revolution happened, they gained their independence from Britain, and they didn't know how to get rid of slavery. And so James Monroe is known for being anti-slavery, but he didn't know how to get rid of it. I think there was a bill that was introduced that was just slowly faded out, but as far as I'm aware, it didn't go anywhere. And another thing is he opposed European nations colonizing in the United States. He was strictly, this is United States territory. No, you cannot come after it, Great Britain. This is the territory of the United States. You will not come into this country. You will not colonize in our country. And that was one of his strongest, firm stances that obviously was good for the United States, because it means that there couldn't have been there really wasn't an opposing nation uprising within the country, whereas he was able to keep the United States, so to speak. A couple interesting facts. These aren't like accomplishments as presidents, but something that was interesting is James Monroe had a very unique cabinet, because it was a mix of northerner and southerners. From the north, as he appointed he appointed a northerner who became, I think, was the 6th president of the United States, John Quincy Adams, as Secretary of State. And then he chose a Southerner to be his Secretary of War. Now, I don't know who that is. I didn't look up the name. I just was reading through one of my sources and found that was thought that was an interesting fact, because nowadays, I guess kind of what used to happen in like the late 1900s and stuff was, if there was if someone was running as a president from the north, they would pick a vice president from the south, that kind of thing. And so, but back then this wasn't exactly like super common. And so for James Monroe to do this, he got a lot of recognition. He oversaw the James Monroe Doctrine, which was part of, that preventing European nations from colonizing in the United States. and that was his, big, this is the United States. He was better on foreign affairs and trade than Thomas Jefferson was. Thomas Jefferson had a few interesting ideas, so to speak. They weren't exactly strong; they were kind of goofy. But James Monroe was more strict, and like I said, he did more, I think, outside of being president than he did as president. He was kind of I was actually having a difficult time trying to finding information of some presidential accomplishments. And like I said, the biggest ones I found were admitting 2 new states into the Union, acquiring Florida from Spain, the James Monroe Doctrine, which prevented and advocated against European nations from colonizing in the country. And other than that, he was just kind of there. He was kind of a figurehead of the United States. He didn't do anything really bad for the country, but he didn't do anything super great for the country, except again admit 2 new states into the Union and acquire Florida. But other than that, he was just kind of there, and kind of like his predecessor, James Madison. James Madison was another president that he was just kind of there. And I think at this point in time, the country, the Federalist Party was fading out. The Democratic Republican Party was the prominent party, and it doesn't come for a few presidencies later, or a couple actually, because the 6th president is John Quincy Adams, and then we have the 7th president of the United States, which was Andrew Jackson. And at that point, is when the Democrat Party was founded. But at this time, it was still known as the Democrat-Republican Party. And then, other than that, there really wasn't, there wasn't really something super outstanding. Nothing really stood out to me in an outstanding matter with James Madison or James Monroe. But that's also not a bad thing, because like I said, neither of them really did anything really bad. They were both, they were good, but not, they wouldn't be people I'd put up with Thomas Jefferson. I would put on the same level with Thomas Jefferson or George Washington. And I know some people are going to be surprised when I actually do my tier list video of the presidents. I know some of you are probably going to be surprised that I'm going to put John Adams a little bit higher than I've seen some people put. And like I said, John Adams, he really was he was a conservative. He founded the United States Navy, which is a huge accomplishment, that kind of stuff. And he was a very unique fellow. But to kind of end this video, to kind of give the thoughts that I have on James Monroe, he wasn't he didn't do anything amazing, but he wasn't bad in really any regard. I don't think there were any wars at this time. He like Jefferson, he tried to stay out of war as much as possible, but he was also a strong nationalist. He, like I said, he supported. He was really, you would say he was really, he wasn't a globalist. He wasn't the most America First president we've ever had, but he was, he's definitely better than the current president we have. But to kind of end the video, that's what I had. That's what I have for you guys today. If you guys do like this series, please leave a like. All the videos of this series I put in a playlist. So this video, when it's uploaded, will be put into the What Are My Thoughts playlist. So if you guys haven't seen the first 4 videos, or this video you missed, they will be all in those playlists. That's public for you guys to see. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Like I said, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, and be sure to hit that notification bell so you guys are aware of a new video when it is uploaded. If you guys have any video ideas, leave it in the comment section below, and I will take any ideas into consideration. And stay tuned for more political content coming your guys' way.